Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's broadcast from the Marin Symphony. I'm very happy to be joined by one of my longtime friends and colleagues in the orchestra, our principal violist, Jenny Douglas. Jenny, hi, and welcome.
Hello, Alasdair. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. How are you doing, first and foremost?
I'm doing fine. My family is safe. We're here in Mill Valley. I have two teenage boys who are in school right now, in front of computers and trying their best to maintain a semblance of school life. And my husband and I are fine. We're healthy and not going out too much, and trying to, stay happy and eat good food and enjoy this time, if we can.
So as well as convicted under the circumstances, I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely.
One of the reasons I thought it would be great to talk to you is that you have a unique position, as far as I can see, within the organization. As everybody knows, you are our longtime principal violist, but you are also our Director of Education and Community Engagement, as well as a former board member. So that gives you a unique perspective on the organization. And I wondered if you might be able to reflect a little bit on how these different hats that you have worn and continue to wear give you a perspective on the organization and its place in the community at large.
Well, yes, I was hired as principal viola in 1999, so last century, but it was Gary Sheldon's last year of the orchestra, and we had just started the conductor search, where we miraculously found you in 2001, and so it's been 20 years with the Marin Symphony on stage, and then, as a lot of musicians do, you kind of rotate through different committees and you get elected to different things. And because I live in Marin, I decided to be a musician board member to kind of represent, the community and the orchestra in the community. I had a lot of parents in the elementary schools saying, Marin has a symphony? I had no idea. And so I thought maybe, I could be a local advocate. So I joined the board in, I think, 2004. And then you get on committees on the board. And of course, I was drawn to the education committee. As you and I share, our mothers were music teachers, our retired music teachers. So you and I have always had that in common, of this interest in having the Marin Symphony be a big part of music education wherever it can be. And then that role on the education committee, I started writing grants and doing projects as a volunteer. And I kept saying, this orchestra really needs an education director. You guys really need to hire someone. And as good ideas, happen, someone finally said, well, how about you? So I, took over or created this education department, and it's been, I guess, almost over 3 years now. And in that role, it's been amazing to watch the symphony just kind of deepen our roots into the schools. We've created a huge network with music teachers. You've met many of them, as I've gotten you into a lot of schools now. And I always am grateful for seeing you in front of middle school bands, behaving exactly as you do in front of the Marin Symphony, which I don't know if I don't know if people can understand the value of that. I've never seen you talk down to a group of elementary school students or middle school students. It's always, you give the same upbeats as you do with the Marin Symphony, and and there they are. And they sound better after just a few minutes with you. So I'm always grateful for that.
It's one part that I'm missing, obviously, from the current situation, is that at this time of year, we would normally be planning some visits into the schools. As you say, with me working with some of these ensembles, I'm missing that keenly. What have you learned from your experience these last 3 years in particular in our education initiatives, what surprised you along the way?
Well, what didn't surprise me is how welcome and how desired the Marin Symphony is in the schools. The music teachers are so grateful for the support that we can give. It turns out we inspire them. One of our early projects was called Adopt a School, and we would basically contact a music teacher and say, what do you need? We have an army of 70 professional musicians. Do you need a trumpet coach? Do you need a cello coach? What do you need? And some said, I need someone to conduct a rehearsal, or yes, I have these, starting violinists that I would love some extra help with, or I've totally forgotten how to teach the clarinet. We forget that these music teachers are teaching every instrument. They have to know how to, tell a group of wind players how to get a sound on every instrument. I mean, whether it's brass or winds or strings, it's really such a wide spectrum of things that these, warriors, music teachers need to know. And so they are really grateful for the professional input that we can give. Another thing that has surprised me a little bit is the disparity of what's offered at each school. I mean, Marin County is, has a great zip code and we're known to be a very wealthy community, but there are schools that do not have a lot of resources and cannot have a music teacher. Some schools don't have a music program at all. So for the Marin Symphony to step in and send a brass quintet or send a string quartet to just kind of offer ourselves and live music and any inspiration has been incredibly valuable.
You want to talk a little bit about Symphony Day as it's evolved? Has that been fun for you? Maybe you can explain to some of our listeners and viewers that may not be quite so familiar with that concept.
Symphony Day is the source of inspiration of most of my colleagues. A lot of my colleagues will tell you that when they were a kid, their school went to the symphony. 3rd grade, 4th grade, it's kind of a field trip that used to happen all the time. And so as these projects started being able to happen, we said, let's do a field trip. Bring the 4th graders to the hall. And the very first one, we lucked out because that was when Midori was here. We had a wonderful residency when Midori came to work with our youth orchestra. And to kind of take advantage of her time and the youth orchestra's schedule, we invited all the 4th graders in Marin County, public school, private school, home school, everywhere, to come to the hall. And the youth orchestra and Midori performed for them. And it was just such a huge hit. We make it free of charge. We've worked closely with the superintendent of schools and who is completely supportive of all of our offerings. But one thing she did say was this has to be free of charge. So we've really made sure to maintain that as the years have gone on. And now this was our 4th year. We just had it in March, just before everything shut down. We've grown from about, I think we had 900 kids the first year, and now we do 2 shows and we have over 2,000 kids come. And so now it's a normal thing. Now the schools are signing up in June for the following year. So it's kind of very quickly become a normal field trip that the schools are doing. And we're just thrilled about that.
Is there any way that we can stay engaged with this process over the next weeks and months until presumably the next Symphony Day happens in March or so of 2021? Are we able to undertake any initiatives, whether it's in that regard or with our youth orchestra as well, to keep students engaged one way or another?
Well, the youth orchestra has been hard because the youth orchestra rehearses on Sundays from September through May. Their spring concert is coming up on May 3rd, and we've canceled it, and they haven't had a rehearsal since middle of March. So we've tried to send communications and send inspirations as we can. We're going to have I know the viola section is going to meet this weekend. I'm going to be a part of that and maybe hear a couple kids play. We weren't prepared for anything like this. And so it's been hard to substitute anything remotely the same as 70 kids playing in a room together. We can point them towards fun internet, things and inspiring, players and speakers online. But that's been a hard one to figure out how to provide what we want to provide.
Yeah, because we're essentially an orchestra is a team, and if you can't get the team together for rehearsals like a sports team as well, it's one of our unique challenges that we're all going to have to be dealing with as we move forward into the next phase. But as far as you're concerned, now you're at home. Of course, you have a family and you have your viola. How's your conversation with your viola going these days?
It's been great, actually. Having this time and space has really kind of made me turn towards things I didn't have time for in the past. Some of which is just long, slow scales and thinking about tone, and you kind of go back to basics at moments like this. And I've pulled out notebooks from school and looked at teachers' markings, and I've just kind of gone through my library. And you just pull something off the shelf, and it's nice to kind of think slowly rather than some sort of hasty preparation for whatever's being performed on the weekend. So I've certainly been playing a lot of solo Bach because that's one thing that is complete with one player. So I've turned to Bach, which is a good antidote for any situation, I think.
I think Bach, we should have some T-shirts made up saying Bach is the best medicine. You might get some good merch opportunities there. But speaking of which, I know that you very graciously agreed to play us a little Bach as our kind of musical coda to this conversation. Perhaps you might tell us a little bit about what we're going to hear.
I will play the last movement, the Gigue movement of the first Bach cello suite. They were written for cello, but they sound much better on viola, as you can imagine. And
cellos, please, no fail.
Actually, you know what? I have proof. Let me reach back for something.
Oh, you do?
Let's see.
I can't wait.
Yes. This is let's see, let me get it without the glare. This is Yo-Yo Ma's Bach Cello Suites album, and he signed it, as you can see. And it says, "To Jenny, they probably sound better on viola. Oh, shucks, Yo-Yo Ma."
That's so yo-yo, isn't it?
So this is, I hang on to this. This is very special.
Well, hell, if Yo-Yo says it, it's got to be true. So, so you're going to play
yes,
from the G major suite for
the G major Gigue. It's an upbeat piece. It's all the suites are 6 dance movements, and I'm trying to stay upbeat and positive. So I'm going to play a Gigue.
I'm delighted. I can't wait to hear that. I just want to thank you in the meantime for taking the time out of your day to talk to us. I really appreciate everything that you are doing and have done for the orchestra. You're just an integral part of our wonderful Marin Symphony family. So big hugs and thanks to you. Ladies and gentlemen, Jenny Douglas.
On behalf of the Marin Symphony, I want to thank you for supporting the orchestra and all of the work that we do in our community. We could not do it without your support. I look forward to performing for you with my colleagues when we can all get back in the concert hall. And until then, stay safe and healthy and listen to Bach every day.